Mad Sports Radio, The Gang Green Report with Mike Damergis and Rob Carpenter.
Mike Damergis along with Rob Carpenter for the Gang Green Report. Week 1, and the Jets lose, Rob, 24-9 to the Baltimore Ravens, with Joe Flacco throwing a freaking interception. Things were ugly on the offensive side of the ball, to say the least, particularly the O-line, a trend that's just been continuing for almost a decade now.
Yeah, it was a little ugly. I was surprised that Fant wasn't playing as well as he had last year. I mean, I know he's coming off an injury and really didn't get a whole lot of time during the preseason, but, for him to give up, quick pressure as much as fast as he did, same thing with Laken Tomlinson. The left side of the O-line was the part of the line where you thought was going to be, sealed off. And you had the questions about Max Mitchell being the rookie at right tackle, and, Elijah Vera-Tucker being, his first time at right guard. So, for it to flip-flop basically, and now you got a question about what Fant and Tomlinson are going to do, for the next few weeks playing against the rest of the AFC North and those defenses. It was a little discouraging, but, there were things on the offense that actually looked okay.
Yeah, so the offense struggled, but on the positive note, there is some positives here. The defense kept them in the game. They were flying around the ball. CJ Mosley, 11 tackles, seven solos. So they were moving on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah,
I had said, a few times on Twitter early in the week that the one thing I was actually looking forward to was watching the defense to see how much they improved, if any. And they have improved. The one thing about them is it looked like their game plan was pretty stout. They were going to stop the run. They were going to let the two corners actually, handle the outside. Jordan Whitehead was going to fill those holes if Lamar actually took off, and hopefully that the front four got pressure, which basically worked, for most of the game. A couple of big plays here and there that actually hurt, but for the most part, those guys were flying around, man. Their game plan was pretty good. The addition of Quan Alexander as well, because he's flying around out there, and the one thing. I talked to a couple of guys about actually during the game was hopefully he can stay healthy for the most part of the season, because he's a big addition. He's fast out there and at linebacker. He can cover well. They got some speed at linebacker, and they got some push up front from the front four.
Well, if you're struggling on offense and your defense is playing well, then the third element you really need, third and fourth, you need special teams and the kicking game. You can't miss a field goal when you have opportunities. That really is disheartening. Talk about how disheartening that is for an offense or a team, in a defense, when you're spilling blood on the field, how disheartening it is to miss a field goal or have a poor kicking game as well. And we saw that throughout the NFL on Sunday.
I was just ready. Mike, we saw that around the league yesterday. There's so many missed field goals. It was almost comical at one point in time.
But Rob, what are they doing? They got nothing else to do on offense and defense. That you guys are killing each other, and there's a field goal on the punter, by themselves on the side. Why is there such a problem with field goals? And in college, forget college. It's like it's hit or miss. I mean, it's 50-50 on field goals in college these days.
College is a duck shoot, so you never know what's going to go on with college kickers. But that's the thing that goes back for the test of time. Like guys would always say the kickers really have nothing to do except practice their craft, because they're not in the middle of practice. They're basically, there's a timeout taken during practice where they get their kicks in during team periods. And then there's a time at the end of practice where the field goal kickers will come in and attempt field goals. But for the most part, basically they just have to do, all they have to do is practice their craft basically all day during practice sessions. And, for so many field goal kickers to miss so many field goals around the league yesterday, it almost begs to ask the question, like you just said, what are they doing during team periods, during training camp? Because
and Rob, they're playing on turf. They're playing on turf. It's not grass. It's not mud. This is kind of inexcusable when you're playing on turf on a decent day, nonetheless.
Except for Cincinnati with their long snapper issue, I think everybody else had their basic units there, and for kickers to miss this many field goals, and kicks between 40 and 50 yards, those are usually gimmies for kickers around the league. For Zerline to miss the field goal before the half, that's disheartening in a way where you look at the defense basically holding up, for the whole first half, and then you got a chance to put some points on the board, and it comes off the board, and then the other team can go the other way to actually get a chance to put points on the board. The punters, Brady, man, I actually don't know what happened to him yesterday, man. He had the one punt that was kind of a terrible punt, shanked off to the left, and then Baltimore went down and scored. That's another thing right there. Basically, all you have to do is hone your craft during practice and just don't understand what's going on with the special teams. But again, you really don't know and don't pay attention to special teams, and they come up to haunt you. So that's a big part of the game that a lot of people forget about.
And talk about the young kids, the Garrett Wilson. How did he look? How did he look on the field?
I'll put it like this, Mike. Corey Davis dropped a pass that killed the drive. That actually was a drive that they actually were trying to sustain. It would have been a pretty big gain if he catches it. After the end, for the most part, myself and a couple other guys that former players, we all said he drops one a game, and it can come at a crucial time during the game when he actually puts one on the ground. I said right then and there that it needs to be Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Braxton Berrios playing this game, and just let them go from there. Because when Garrett Wilson got the ball in his hands, he's trying to make something happen. Elijah Moore, we know, was an elite guy at this point in time. Even now, it's only his second year. Braxton Berrios can get open in a slot against anybody. I'll take him against anybody around the league. So for those three guys to be on the field, it's pretty much an electric unit right there. And Garrett should actually be playing a lot now once they watch this film and see the things that he was doing on the field.
For every 50 receptions a wide receiver has, about how many drops would you consider acceptable for a receiver?
One.
Wow, really? One?
Yeah, one. Guys at this level, yeah, one. Every 50, one is acceptable. You get to two, literal drops, like drops that are right in somebody's hands. You're like, all right, you need to cut this out. But one every 50, yeah, that's like, all right, yeah, that's an anomaly right there. But anytime the ball's in the guy's hand, he should catch it.
What is it with Corey Davis? What are we missing here? What do you see as a former Jet, former football player and athlete?
I think it's just lack of concentration at times. I don't know if it's at points in time in the game where he thinks that the ball might not be coming at that point, or something like that, because he makes great catches at times. Later on in the game, he made a great sliding catch on the sidelines for a first down. So you see him drop the easy ones that actually literally hit him right in the chest. It's a wonder of just concentration with him. He'll make a highlight grab, once a game, but he'll have that drop. And it's kind of mind-boggling, especially, like I said, the ones that are just literally right there in his hands.
All right, Rob. I hate to do this, but I'm going to put on my professor glasses here, and I'm going to look at the Jets' schedule here. They're 0-1.
I don't even want to put them
at Cleveland. Win or loss?
That's a tough one. Honestly, I think they can win this game because the way the defense played.
Okay.
They just need the offense to actually convert. If the offense converts third downs, they can win this game.
All right, we'll give them a win. Versus Cincinnati at home.
I don't think they'll win that one.
1-2. At Pittsburgh.
I think they have a chance to win that game. They can keep the way they handled Lamar. I think they will be able to handle Trubisky, and I don't think those missed opportunities will come like they did in week one. Hopefully they actually can cash in on those and make some things happen in that game. So I actually think they could be 2-2 after these first four.
All right, well, you're being very generous here. You're playing the Santa Claus, so you have them at
I'm not. I'm actually being honest. Looking at the game,
okay.
Just looking at the game the way it's shaped out. I mean, I know Flacco's not the guy.
Right.
I would feel a hell of a lot better if Zach Wilson was actually playing. But I just think about the plays that were left out on the field yesterday that could have made a big difference in the game. Not necessarily saying that they would have won the game. The game would have been a lot different if those plays weren't left on the field. Those drops, the fumbles. They had a chance for another field goal when Conklin actually caught a pass. He had a first down. He gets hit, and the ball goes backwards, and it's recovered, and that was fourth down. And actually had a field goal range.
Okay,
so those plays that are left out on the field, if you take those into account and they make those plays, they have a chance to win these games.
Okay, so you have them at 2-2. Then they're home for Miami.
Tough call. I'm not really sure they can get past Miami at the first game. The first time.
2-3 at Green Bay.
They may have a shot. That defense is going to be all right, but Aaron doesn't have those weapons out there, man. We saw that yesterday.
Okay.
So he's going to be struggling with his young wide receivers, and I'll take the defensive backs that we have against those guys any day.
So you see them at 3-3 instead of 2-4. Okay, 3-3 at Denver. Denver's a tough place to play, even when you're good.
Yeah, I was about to say that might be a tough one, especially for all these young guys out here, man. Playing up in that altitude, I'm not really sure about that one. They probably be
3 and 4. We'll put them at 3-4. Home for New England and home for Buffalo.
I think they can beat New England. I know they're not going to beat Buffalo.
4-5 at New England.
That's probably going to be a tough one to win up there.
We'll say 4-6. Home for Chicago.
I think they can get that game.
Chicago showed me a lot though yesterday.
They did, but I'm not gonna put a big cap on that one because that's a bad weather game. But I don't, and for them, the way they played in their first half, playing terrible, I think they just caught San Francisco, off guard in the second half, especially the way the weather was playing out.
Yeah, I agree with that. 5. So they're 5-6 at Minnesota, at Buffalo, 5-7, 5-8, because they're not winning at Minnesota, they're not winning at Buffalo.
No, they're not going to win those two games. I don't believe.
Home for Detroit.
That's a game I think they can possibly win. Detroit actually looked pretty good yesterday. But I think they can get that one.
So you have them at 6-8. Then home for Jacksonville, they could win that one.
Yep.
7-8. Then at Seattle, at Miami.
I don't think they'll win either one of those games. And that's where I have them. I have them with 7 wins for the season.
All right, so you have them at 7-10. I kind of have them at 3-15. to be honest with you, and if the Jets are in a situation where they're a top pick, are they going after the Alabama quarterback?
Well, if they play like your record suggests,
yes,
I'm going to say that's probably a possibility because at that point they're probably saying that Zach is probably not the guy, because he's probably going to come back within the next 2 weeks. I know he's probably going to come back within the next 2 weeks.
The problem I have with Zach Wilson is what's in between his ears, because in a preseason game, just go down, get out of bounds. Don't try and make something more to put yourself in a situation where the Jets are now, where he's out for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever it's going to be. I just don't think this kid's mature enough, and I don't think he's faced enough competition. Now, you back in 1992, as you recall, had a young quarterback by the name of Browning Nagel. Big arm, could make the big play. Jets were 5-0 in the preseason. Everybody was touting Super Bowl. Then you opened up the season. You lost a heartbreaker in Atlanta, and they opened up the stadium. And then Nagel got hurt, and the season finished 4-12, and that was a disaster season. What similarities do you see with Zach Wilson with Browning Nagel, if any at all? And as a young quarterback, is there any hope for him?
The only similarities I see with Zach's rookie year and Browning's rookie year is the fact that they were seeing everything for the first time. And you could tell that at times as the season went on, Browning was getting a little frustrated and a little, seeing ghosts, like as Sam Darnold had said, because you're seeing things for the first time, so you don't know how to react to it. And that's just gonna come with experience. Unfortunately, Browning didn't really get the chance to prove anything after that year. So what they saw in him, they figured they needed to move on. But this regime, looking at Zach, my takeaway is from the last 6 or 7 games that Zach played last year, he didn't throw any interceptions. That's a great thing for a rookie. He didn't turn the ball over. So he didn't have all the guys out there that he has at his disposal at this point. Now, with him basically missing the preseason and going to miss these first few games, that's another setback for him. And hopefully, all these mental reps that he's taking at this point, he can put them, out onto the field, because working with these guys all off season, OTAs, him having the passing camp that he had with these guys, and hopefully they can transform that and onto the field of play when he's actually in action, in game action. So, again, the only thing I take from those guys being similar is the fact that they're both first-year players looking at things for the first time. Browning didn't get that second chance. Zach is going to get that second chance. I can actually flip it to the other side of the MetLife Stadium and to the other locker room and look at the Giants. everybody says that the Giants needed to get rid of Daniel Jones. Table came in and said, nah, he's the guy. And so he's giving him another shot after, everybody had basically, wrote him off. And looked at the game yesterday. It didn't start out too great, but, they kept battling, and there you go. They get a win, a big win for them. And everybody's pretty much, crowning Daboll the chief of New York at this moment.
Any possibility for week 2 that Saleh goes with Mike White at all? Is there any possibility, you think, in your mind?
Listening from today, I don't think so. But, you never know. As he said, they hadn't finished, looking at the film by the time they, got to his press conference. They hadn't finished looking at the film. So, you're not going to I don't really think they're going to see a whole lot from this film and say, all right, we need to make this change because, Flacco played so bad. He had to throw 59 passes. He threw for over 300 yards. That's saying something with all the pressure that he had in his face. Not to say that it's something great, but if you got to throw the ball 59 times and you were getting hit as much as he was getting hit in the first half, because pressure was right there in his face. Literally, again, I'm kind of shocked that Laken Tomlinson giving up pressure as fast as he did to put it in the face of Joe Flacco so fast. And at the same time, Fant as well, because Fant got beat inside on a couple of quick rushes. And that's something that Flacco can't get out of. He can't get out of the way of that. That's past him at this moment. He's not that nimble foot guy. Never was, but at this point, 37 years old, that's not going to be him. Now, could Mike White possibly handle that situation? It's possible. He may have, been able to get out of the pocket and make something happen. Now, if that was Zach Wilson, would I have expected him to do something? Absolutely. I would expect him to use his, athletic ability and get out of the pocket and try to make something happen downfield with guys, running all over the place. But with Flacco, when you look at the film, pressure right there in his face as soon as he gets a snap, that's not really anything that's going to be positive come out about with him back there. And hopefully they can, get that squared away before this Sunday, because the Browns are going to do the same thing. They're going to, attack the middle of the O-line.
Well, we'll see if the Jets could possibly be 1-1 after 2 weeks. I'll pop the champagne, Rob. All right. Well, I'll pop the champagne. So
I think I'll consider
that would be exciting.
I'll consider that a Super Bowl win. One after this week.
He's Rob Carpenter. I'm Mike Damergis for the Gang Green Report for week number 1. Catch us next week as well. Thank you.